Yo, welcome to the Costa Corner podcast. We back again. So I want to do a preview, right? I want to do a preview to Canelo, Charlo. I did one before. This one, as we draw closer, there's some things that stood out to me that I want to cover today. You know, Jermelle Charlo, he's been out 2 years. That's a long time, especially when we talk about boxing, right? And again, I'm not knocking anything about Jermelle Charlo. I'm not knocking it, not putting it down. But 2 years, we're talking about anticipation skills. We're talking about footwork. And I go back to the footwork time and time again. He's been undisputed for a reason, okay? However, I haven't heard many analysts say that he had great footwork. He has good footwork, right? He's a hard puncher, punches to the body. He can knock you out, great power. He can brawl. He can sit in there and punch with you. But my biggest worry is the ring rust. My other biggest worry is anticipation skills. My other worry is he going to be able to sit there and take time and patience when it comes to Canelo? When you have a fight as big as this for Jermelle Charlo, you want to make sure, regardless of the training, right, there's going to be ring rust. And I'm looking at rounds 1 through 4. What is the significance? How is he going to be able to handle himself? How is he going to be able to sit there and not want to try to just knock Canelo out, right? Because that might be his downfall. If he has patience between rounds 1, 2, 3, and 4 and start to feel himself again, there's a possibility, a strong possibility. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing that I'm worried about when it comes to Charlo is ring rust. You know, a big thing that I want us to look at, right? Like when we talk about the psychology of the game, the psychology of boxing, ring walk. When you're walking down the ring, okay, you see Jermelle Charlo's ring walk, you see Canelo's ring walk, right? What are they thinking about? What's going through their mind? A lot of boxers says, nah, it's just nothing but, the fight. Nothing but, what I'm going to do when I get in the ring. For some people, that may be right. For some people, that may be true. We won't know until after the fight, until after they fight. But I do have some analysis, right? Like when you see Jermelle Charlo's ring walk, you see that intensity. You see that adrenaline going through his mind. You see somebody that's like a lion. You see somebody that's hungry. You see somebody that's like ready for the challenge, ready to take it on, ready to knock him out. That's what you see in Jermelle Charlo, right? Canelo is somebody who's been through this before, right? Maybe a young Canelo, anxious, ready to take it on, ready to run to the ring, like one of them WWE wrestlers. But this Canelo is a very processed Canelo. This is a Canelo that, when you see him walk through the ring, it's a Canelo that, for the most part, is somebody that I'm not going to say beyond the thinking. I would say this is an individual that he's processing as he's walking down the ring, right? Look at his eyes. Where are his eyes when he's walking down the ring, right? Some fighters like to look at the crowd. Some fighters like to look, at their people, look down at the ground, not look at anybody, wait. Like you want to take the moment when they hit the arena, the moment when the cameras hit them, and as they walk down, right, inside the ring, what is happening at that time, right? What's going through their mind? What is the biggest challenge for them? What do they need to overcome, right? So, like Charlo, you got his brother. He always has his brother with him. So, you have people in your corner, people that's going to support you, people that's going to, hype you up and make sure that you have the energy. But a lot of adrenaline is being used. Just in that ring walk alone. Understand that. In that ring walk alone, a lot of adrenaline is being used. So this fight, September 30th, is a very big fight. De La Hoya said he doesn't see an upside for Canelo, right? If he wins, loses against Charlo. To a certain degree, I may see that, but I saw something and I watched the tapes. I saw something with Canelo, and it gave me pause. It truly gave me pause. And I had to watch some tape again. I went through. I saw. I saw something that it tugged at me, man. Like Canelo was taking unnecessary hits. Like this is not a Canelo I'm used to seeing. You know, boxers you're gonna take hits. Boxers you're gonna take punches. Boxers you're gonna get hit. That is something you can't get around. But I saw something that he was taking unnecessary punches, right? And that bothers me. Somebody as great as Canelo, I saw his training, works on his counterpunching, he worked on his defense. That's something that's definitely being highlighted. You see Jermelle Charlo's training. You know, he's working on more offensive skills. He went to Roy Jones. But I think really for Charlo, it should be more of a defensive game. Canelo's a great counterpuncher, right? He's a good boxer. And at the end of the day, you know, Canelo doesn't have to knock Charlo out. All he has to do is outbox him. And if he can sit there, get a couple punches, wrap him up, push him off, that's fight over. But Charlo, one thing that I see that might be held against him is that he might try to go out for the knockout. And if that's all he's trying to do, he's going to lose the fight. You know, he should go in there with the intent of boxing Canelo, go in there with the intent of trying to damage. You could hit the shoulder, hit the arms, go to the body, right? Process, do the work, right? So then when he does go for the knockout, he has a better chance. Canelo needs to stay away from getting hit too many times. It just seems as though when I saw this version of him, it seems as though he was just taking unnecessary punches. Most Mexican fighters go front, back. They fight. They keep going. No ifs, ands, buts about it. And Canelo was a little different. You know, Canelo was a little different. He was a fighter that had some pop to him. After Mayweather fight, you know, you saw that he took some of that. You saw he used some of that. You saw that he started to have a little bit better defensive game. But, you know, it doesn't seem like it's carrying on the older he gets. And it bothers me. It scares me because, you know, it almost gave me pause as opposed to because my prediction was Canelo by decision. And I said if Charlo wins, it'll probably be by knockout between rounds 6 through 8. But the thing about it is, can Canelo go 12 rounds? Not Canelo. Can Charlo go 12 rounds? Can he go 12 rounds? He's been out of the ring 2 years. I used the example, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, 18 months off, came back in, but still wasn't the Michael Jordan. He took a whole season, right, like that summer to come back, and then the next year they went 72-10. And the same thing with Charlo is like, okay, you're great. You're a great boxer. You're undisputed at 154, but you've been off for 2 years. We understand why. Mental health is very important, not taking anything from you. But at the end of the day, when you get back in that ring, one of my main concerns, do you have great anticipation skills? Do you still have it? When you see Canelo shift his shoulders, when you see him move his feet at the same time, when you see him look one way and then punch another, when you see him try to set you up, can you recognize that, right? Will it take you long to recognize Canelo when he's trying to set you up? Because you've been out of the ring 2 years, my friend, and there's a difference from being out of the ring 2 years, training as hard as you've been training, and then getting in the ring, not with just an average boxer. You're getting in the ring with a great boxer. right? And he's challenging you because he believes he can beat you. He's not challenging you believing that you'll beat him. He's challenging you because he believes he can beat you. And that's one of the things that when it comes down to this fight and it comes down to this preview that I want people to see is that what is the psychology, right? That ring walk, how nervous are they? Can you see any nervousness in the fighters, right? Do you see the hype people around them? What are they saying? How are they acting, right? You see too many pats on the back. For me, that's a negative. If I'm patting you on the back all the way there, I don't believe you're gonna win the fight, right? If I'm walking with you side by side, I don't have no worries. I have 100% belief that you can win this fight. I really am looking forward to the challenge, right? Because Charlo's a bigger fighter. He's a taller guy. He's a stronger fighter. I believe he has a lot of knockout power. However, and you heard me in my previous episode covering this, is that the hardest punch that I think Canelo's ever taken was from Triple G. I don't know if Charlo's power equals Triple G's. I don't know. We're going to find out at the end of the day. This is going to be a fight that, man, it could be ugly. If Canelo takes too many punches, this can be a fight where you can see him get knocked out between rounds 6, 7, 8. If Canelo survives, my biggest issue with Charlo would be, does he have the stamina to go forward? I seen Charlo in his fights before he took the time off. You've seen somebody tired towards, the later rounds, taking too many unnecessary hits, even though it didn't faze him. But this is what the average fan is not looking for. The average fan is just looking for a fight, somebody get knocked out. But if you're somebody that really want to know the game, I want you to look really at the footwork in the first couple of rounds. Look at the footwork, how they're moving, right? I want you to look at, how they shift when they meet with each other, right? When Charlo throws his jab, right? How powerful is he throwing that jab? Because that's a lot of energy coming. Is Canelo ducking and counterpunching? That's what you want to find out when you see this fight. In the first 4 rounds, it will dictate exactly how the rest of the fight is going to go. At the end of the day, is Charlo coming out swinging? Because that's going to be a bad move, right? Is he coming out trying to, get good body shots and, really being very methodical, right, in his approach, right? Because everything doesn't have to be a headshot. He can go to the shoulder, he can go to the arms, he can go to the body, and all of that pays off towards the end. Because if I hit you in your shoulder over a period of time, by the time we get to the later rounds, you ain't gonna want to throw that punch, right? And especially because Charlo's a heavy hitter, and if he's somebody that is very methodical and Derek James has trained him to attack certain areas on Canelo, he has a higher chance of knocking Canelo out. However, Canelo, I said this, I stick by this, he has great footwork, great anticipation skills, he's a great counterpuncher, and he's a better boxer than Charlo. So all Canelo has to do is outbox him. He doesn't have to go in there and go blow for blow. If he goes blow for blow, he's going to get knocked out. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. I'm not beating around the bush. I'm not sitting here trying to, give you some rhetoric. If Canelo goes blow to blow with Jermelle Charlo, he get knocked out. No issues, no ifs, no ands, no buts about it. And he's going to help Jermelle Charlo become a superstar, right? But there is a downside for Jermelle Charlo. If Jermelle Charlo loses this fight, right, like his only big fight, in my eyes, was to go back down to 154 and fight Terrence Crawford, right? Canelo's going to go on. The Mexican community, The world is going to support Canelo. Win, lose, or draw. They're going to support him. It's just that certain boxers have this aura about them. They like to come across and they come across as very authentic. They come across as very, likable. And that is Canelo Alvarez. Bivol, when he lost against Bivol, he lost. He got beat bad. But guess what? The world still loves Canelo, right? Canelo's still a star. But will that be said about Jermelle Charlo if he loses? Again, I'm not changing my decision. My decision is Canelo by decision, right? However, my caveat is if Jermelle Charlo is up for the fight, if he's up for the challenge, I'll be look for a knockout between rounds 6, 7, and 8. Right? After that, I will start to look for the stamina in Jermelle Charlo. Is he going to wane out? Is he going to fade out? A lot of times we want to look at the highlights of fighters and how they fight, and that's well and good, but you got to look at the now. And the now is one fighter has been gone for 2 years. The other fighter is beginning to take unnecessary punches. And when you're a fighter that begins to take unnecessary punches, it's really a telltale sign that it's time for you to go ahead and walk away. Because then you begin to affect your cognitive functions, your brain functions, and you have the slurred speech. Just look at James Toney, right? You see James Toney, great defensive fighter. If you look at a lot of his tapes, great counterpuncher, but he took too many hits. He took too many hits, and he has a very slurred speech, almost like a gargle. It's hard to understand. And Canelo can end up being that if he doesn't know what's better for him, right? Y'all seen the Showtime episode. You seen Canelo. They went into his training. They went into his family. Same thing with Jermelle Charlo. They went into his training, went into his family. These guys are loving fathers, but they're in a sport that is brutal. It's like getting into a car accident every 3 seconds, every time you take a punch. It's like getting into a car accident. That's exactly what these guys are doing. Car accident after car accident over 3 minutes. 3 minutes of car accidents against your body, against your chin, against your head, against your arm, against your shoulders. I mean, it's something you got to think about, man. Something you really got to think about at the end of the day. So with that being said, I tell you this, that this is going to be a hell of a fight. It's going to be a hell of a fight. It's going to be one where, again, the telltale sign is within rounds 1 through 4. One of the things I do not anticipating this being is a boring fight. Lord, I tell you, if this is a boring fight, oh my gosh, I probably want my money back, right? But, however, let me say again, if the first, second, third, and fourth round shows some explosiveness, some good boxing on both sides, you can anticipate some of my predictions coming true. So, with that being said, this is the Carson Corner. This is the Carson Corner podcast, right? And as I always say when I end off, I'm rich.
Can I get that outro one more time?
One more time? Okay. This is the Carson Corner podcast. And as I always say these 2 words, I'm rich.
Cool. All right.
How did it look?
Looked pretty good.
I was looking to see if you say something like, nah, that's not it. Is it going to happen?
No. I tried really hard not to.
Because when I said something, you trying to say like, what? Oh, okay. I think maybe it was about Canelo. I don't know what. You kind of jumped or something. I don't know which one it was.